Hello, my name is Paul Edwards. I'm with Danmark Company, and I am providing a training DVD for the use by maintenance as well as quality control personnel at red meat and poultry pork processing facilities. This is a generic DVD training opportunity for continuing education. And as I said, the primary use of this Olas Ti currently is with the red meat and pork industry. We do have interest developed in the poultry industry, but another form of the Olas Ti would be more appropriate for that specific industry. And we won't be discussing that this time, but we are going to discuss the mechanism that you're seeing in front of you now is a mechanism used for metering acid and sodium chloride for antimicrobial purposes in the red meat and pork industry. Now, as you look at this, you'll notice that this backboard of the pump system is mounted on a temporary wall here, and that's strictly for demonstration purposes and for creating this training DVD. And also what you'll notice about this Olas Ti is that there's something missing here. All the fittings are in place, but the pump is missing. And that would seem pretty odd, because you would be expecting that, hey, I'm supposed to be learning about Olas Ti, and obviously the Olas Ti is a pump, a metering pump that is going to go on and meter chemical for me. So why is it missing? Well, I'll tell you. The truth of the matter is that I'm starting from the back forward when I go about training for the purpose of the Olas Ti training. And what I'm saying is that right now a basic understanding of your fitting and your functionality of this system right here without the pump is very important and very crucial. And then once we understand that, I'll mount the pump, and then the pump will be discussed thoroughly on the metering side. As you look at this system, you'll understand that this is a water-driven mechanism, okay? And what I mean by a water-driven mechanism is that you're going to have inlet potable water that comes in on this side of the Olas, okay? This would be your inlet side of the Olas. So remember that as you face the Olas Ti, you find that on the left-hand side of the Olas Ti is your water inlet supply. Your water is moving in this direction. Comes in from your city water line. You can use a pressure regulator to control pressure, and you can use a water flow rate meter to determine the water flow rate. The capacity of the pump, the Olas pump, it will see as high as 12 gallons per minute flow rate, okay? In my opinion, the Olas Ti loses its efficiency when you move to a flow rate of below 24 ounces a minute on the inlet side. That's my personal experience on this system. When you allow the pressure on the inlet side to reduce to below 20 psi, once again you see an efficiency drop on your Olas Ti pump system. So it's always a good idea to have a gauge, a pressure gauge here on the inlet supply to the Olas Ti, and a water flow rate gauge also. If you anticipate flow rates below 24 ounces a minute, then you ought to have a flow meter there. If you're anticipating pressures below 20 psi, you ought to have a pressure measuring device, like a gauge, a pressure gauge. As you look here, you have your water, and this, what I used here is water tubing, but this water tubing could also be a PVC line, okay? The inlet threading here is approximately one inch of threading, and that 1 inch is a female pipe thread that goes on into a plastic fitting, and the plastic fitting is going through a check valve, and then this check valve goes on and feeds down into the lower end of this fitting, where it is actually going to feed the pump itself. So the Olas pump sits right there. Okay, now this right here, this valve here, is a valve that feeds water to this purge line here. What I'm going to do for the purpose of viewing this, I'm going to go on and bring the camera in, and I'm going to focus it down on that line there for you so that you can see that. Hope I don't create any kind of dizziness by focusing down on this. It's not my intention, but that's a possibility. Okay, there we are. Okay, so as you can see there, the tubing that originated up here that was connected to that ball valve on the very top here, there's a ball valve. It's normally kept on a closed position. When you open it, water from this line here feeds this tubing, and it goes through this T fitting, and this T fitting, these are check valves, so it's designed to control the flow to go in one direction, and that's where that direction there. So these check valves here control the flow of that direction, and that water goes on the inside of this center tubing, and that center tubing line there goes to your mix chamber of your Olas Ti, and this mix chamber is where your acid and sodium chloride combine to make chlorine dioxide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll move the camera once again back on up so that we can focus on the mix chamber. And as I was saying, that on this mix chamber, what is happening is that sodium chloride and acid is coming in from the bottom of this mix chamber. And if you look closely at your drawings as well as an actual Olas unit, you'll notice that there is a tube within a tube. The inner tube is where the acid and the sodium combine to make the chlorine dioxide. You may recall that when acid and sodium chloride are combined and allowed to age in the center tube, like here, it will convert to chlorine dioxide over time, and it will come out this mix chamber and out the tubing and meet with the water flow that is coming on the outside tubing. Within the outside tubing there's water. Within the inside tubing there's acid and sodium chloride, and this makeup here creates what's called the chlorine dioxide activation chamber, and then it goes on and mixes up here and exits, and this will be your outlet side. Okay, so this would be your outlet side of your mix chamber. Once again, this is tubing, but it can also be PVC, and PVC is customary in most plants. You could use Schedule 40. You can use Schedule 40 PVC in order to hard pipe this Olas Ti unit. And as you can see right there, a more all-inclusive view of the Olas Ti. Go over these facts one more time. You have water coming in on the inlet side, going through your Olas pump, which isn't here, but we're going to put it in, and we're going to discuss that here in a few minutes. You've got your purge valve here. This is the direction that purge valve will be when it's turned off. The purge valve is there for the purpose of taking the sodium chloride and the acid that's in that center chamber. If you want to evacuate that in a very safe manner, you would use that purge valve and you would force that sodium chloride and acid out of the center cell into this flow rate, and then this tubing here could go directly into a drain, and it would go on and flush out that chemistry within the center cell, so that if you had to disassemble this, you would be able to do that without having any chemical within the center tube that would cause a safety issue or a safety consideration. Remember that whenever you're going to work on an Olas Ti, you want to use this purge valve to evacuate all chemical that sits within the center tubing, and you want to take your line, whether it's PVC, hard PVC, or tubing, you want to go directly to the drain with it, and you want all that raw materials, all that high concentrated solution to go directly into the drain. You do not want to purge that into an open area that is not well ventilated and not well evacuated of any kind of strong toxic odors. As you can see, most of the fittings, most of the connections to this fittings are all male and female pipe threads, and these fittings, even on the end of these tubings, are designed for preventative maintenance purposes, to be able to take on and off these fittings, tubings, or pump without any significant issue. Okay, it's just real easy to do. Okay, if you need to work on your center tubing, you've got a fitting up here on top that you will remove, and right here you've got to slip a quick disconnect coupling device here to turn this and undo it, so that this whole assembly here slides out. You'll also notice that there are locking fittings here. These are grasp. They grasp the tubing. They grasp but the pipe. They hold on to the pipe. The same thing down here. It grasps and holds onto the pipe. It keeps it in place. Same thing here. As you can see, it's locked into position. It's holding this into the position. Those can be reordered with Danmark Company on a need-be basis. If you need to open this up, take a screwdriver, pop it open this way, and it'll slide right out. All of these fittings here, this is a check valve. This is a check valve. There's a check valve right here. There's a check valve right here. All of those check valves are there to give you one directional flow. Okay, it's telling the solution you can go that way, but you can't return back. And these are all very important components. If you look at the tubing ends, okay, and I'm gonna go on and bring my camera to focus in closer. There are compression fittings that you have to have and make sure that are on the tubing in order to keep the solution from, squirting out, from the tubing. In order to keep it in the seat, you have to have these little seat fittings to do that. I'm going to demonstrate that here in a second. I'm going to go and bring the camera in closer in order to do that. I'm going to focus it right there, just below the biocide sign. And if you look at this right here, you'll notice that there's a white fitting and a clear fitting, the color of the tubing. Both of those need to be connected, and then this thread, 1/4 inch female thread nut would screw in, and that would keep those two fittings right there, keeps the solution that's coming through that tubing within the flow direction, and it doesn't seep out. Okay, those are seats that keeps the chemical from seeping out into your hands and areas like that. That would be a problem. Please keep in mind that there's so much information that you can go over, and you can always call Danmar and ask for Paul Edwards at 817-822-5767, 817-822-5767, or you can call me toll free 888-822-5767, 888-822-5767. With over 1,000 hours in red meat plant pork operations, accumulated hours, with over thousands of hours working on the Olas Ti in the plant and determining what could be the problem on on-site challenges, I can pretty much tell you over the phone what could very well be happening to your system. And please keep that in mind whenever you want to contact me and call me, that I'm available for that purposes. I'm going to go through the tubing one more time, and then we're going to wrap this up. We're going to connect the Olas Ti and move forward. What we've got here is we've got the tubing. We've got this tubing right here, which is your tubing that comes out of the Olas pump, and it feeds up here to the top. That's called your total sodium chloride line. This is your total acidified sodium chloride line. It's referred to as Keeper 1. It's also referred to as sodium chloride 1 in the technical training manuals. So whenever I say sodium chloride 1, or I say Keeper 1, or Keeper Pro 1, XG941, whenever I refer to 1, that means that this is your largest tubing. It's coming out of your Olas from the far left side, and it's what we use to control total sodium chloride. If I move this tubing out of the way so it's not getting in the way, the next tubing that I want you to be aware of is these two tubings right here. These two tubings, and I'm going to go on and bring the camera down. Pardon the moving around, guys, but and gals, but this helps us out in expressing ourselves and talking about this. But if I go on and bring the camera in closer, and I start to focus on these two lines here, and you can see that there's a check valve in each one of them, and they're designed to take the sodium chloride, which is this one right here, sodium chloride, and this line right here, it's designed to take this line here is acid. So you've got acid here on your far right, and then you've got sodium chloride on your middle left, and the middle left sodium chloride, the far right acid activator. Both those two lines coming out of the Olas pump feed into these two T's, and then these two chemistries are what feeds into the center cell of the Olas Ti. So you know these two lines there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the center cell. I'm going to pull it up just a bit. Apologize for the moving. And what we're going to do is right in here, the two tubings solution goes into the center cell right at the base here, and then it starts to mix and create a chlorine dioxide now, which is really neat with these brand new units. And I'm really getting in real close because I want you to see that center tubing that I'm talking about. You can see a shaded area, it's circular there. That's your center tubing. When the acid and the sodium chloride combine in here, it really is an interesting sight, because you literally can see the color change. It turns to yellow or gold, and then it moves up. That center tubing, it moves up as the water flow rate goes through it. And you literally can see that concentration move up the tubing until voila, it comes out the very end of the mix chamber, and it goes in, feeds to your water stream that's passing by up here at the top. And I'm going to, one more time, bring the camera in close so you can see what I'm talking about. Apologize for any motion here. Very top here is where the chemistry exits the mixing chamber, and water cascading through the outside tubing carries the chlorine dioxide and moves it all the way out to the very top. Let me adjust my focus one more time. At the very top, oh, sorry about that. Okay, at the very top it comes out and enters the plant, enters the spray cabinet, enters the lines that run throughout the plant. Whatever your setup is, after the chemical activation, it moves on out. That's your exit or your outlet side of your pump system. It's pulled the activated acid and sodium chloride, which form chlorine dioxide, and it pulls the total sodium chloride. All three components come out at this discharge end and feeds into your processing environment. So I hope that helps you understand, as brief as this explanation was, I hope that helps you understand the direction of flow, the tubings, and how it fits and how it applies. Now, on the next time I start this training, the Olas pump will be installed, and we'll be talking specifically about the pump and how that functions. Thank you for your attention and time. We will be installing the Olas pumps in just one moment. The only thing that I did want to do is I wanted to take this opportunity here to show you something. There are a couple of fitting types. The early versions of the Olas Ti were just had drill holes directly into the PVC mount. And as you can see right here, there's a drill hole right here, and there's a drill hole right here. And now, in some of the newer models, they actually have a female seat in there that holds the pump down. Either way is a very good method of holding the pump. I wanted you to see that. There's actually 4 holes there where the 4 screws used for mounting the Olas pump there. And then here are your fittings that you're going to screw your water directly in the Olas pump. So I just wanted to make that point, and thank you very much. We are back, and as you can see, we have installed the Olas pump. You have the pump here. Connected to it is the inlet water fitting and your outlet water fitting. So this pump here is only seeing water at this junction, okay? As water travels through here, this pump rises and falls with the water flowing through, okay? I do not have this hooked up to water, so you're going to have to take my word for it, okay? This is a training environment where we're not going to run chemistry through this and we're not going to run water through it. But it's an aid to you, because I believe that when you look at this video, you're probably going to be at a plant that has this installed and has water to it and it has everything ready to go, and you want to use this to make sure that everything's done right. So keep in mind that this is your inlet water, this is your outlet water, that there's nothing but water comes through the pump, and it's on the lower end of this pump where the chemical, okay, this is called the wetted ends, chemical wetted ends portion of the pump, is this lower white base. Denmark Company provides its customers a detailed graphics cutaway of this pump, where you literally can see the O-rings and all the springs and the ball check valves, everything that's used for metering and control of your raw chemicals. So you can refer to that so that you can see the O-rings, the seats, the rings, the balls, the springs. All of this you can look at through the cutaway. We're not disassembling that pump so that you could see that, because it's really something that either somebody highly technical in the plant would be dealing with, somebody in maintenance, or if you were to take this pump and you need it rebuilt, that's something that the folks at Biocide take care of, okay, is all of those integral component parts of this pump. So we really won't be going into that, but just it's just want to let you know that that cutaway does exist and that we do give you that information. If you look at this pump, you notice that it's mounted. How I started out with no pump installed, that's what it looks like when you send this pump in to get it serviced. You leave your plastic fittings, you leave your white board in place on the wall mounted, and all you do is send this pump right here for service. And that's how you do your preventative maintenance service on that pump. As you look at this, you start to notice that once again we have this tubing here. And you might recall that what I said is that this tubing is connected to the far left of your pump, down here in the base. So if you watch, I'm taking that tubing with those two little fittings there that prevents leaking from occurring. I'm going to stick it in, slide it in, then I'm going to bring in this little nut and I'm going to screw it in, and that is exactly how you connect the tubing for your total. Now, I'm going to stop right here and mention that this is your adjustment knob right here. This is your adjustment knob for the sodium chloride total, okay? So when you're controlling total sodium chloride, this is your adjustment knob for it, okay? If you see me here adjusting this, this is your locking knob, okay? And your locking knob is what prevents this when you're screwing it like I am right now from adjusting, okay? And if you look closely, and I'm going to compare it by bringing the camera in very tight here on the adjustment portion, okay? See that right there? Okay, here's my adjustment knob. This knob right here is my locking knob. This right here is my adjustment knob. Do you see how that's gone up a little bit? And these are still down. This one's down, this one's down. Okay, this, as it goes up, as you see more threading, it goes from zero right there, all the way to 10 up at the top. From 0 all the way to 10. This is your total sodium chloride adjustment. This right here is your sodium chloride adjustment directly into your chlorine dioxide mixing chamber, and this right here is your acid adjustment into your acid going in the mixing chamber. This right here, this knob here should never be set higher than 3, okay? I used to say 2.5. Some of our higher flow rate plants we get up to 3. This one is allowed to go up to 10, and this one's allowed to go up to 10, okay? So that's your adjustment here. This is how you adjust the total and your free chlorine dioxide. These two are your free. These two are your free. This is your total sodium chloride. This is your far left sodium chloride. This is your middle sodium chloride. This is your far right acid activation. Okay? Pull this back. On the bottom here is where your tubing connects. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see that a little bit better. Here is where your tubing connects. You will take your tubing and you will connect to the bottom there, and then that will go into your drum. You will take a tubing You're going to take your tubing, which is going to be about 8 feet long, maybe less, and you're going to connect to the bottom of this. So you got your tubing, flexible tubing, vinyl tubing, or actually this one's a special material tubing that is going to connect here, And then on the opposite end of that tubing, you're going to have a ceramic weight and a check valve. And this is going to go to the bottom of your 55-gallon drum or your tote of sodium chloride. Okay, this here is going to go in the bottom. It's a ceramic weight, filter, and check valve. That goes into the bottom. You're going to have 3 of these tubings, okay? One here, and one here. The one on the far right goes to your acid. The one into the middle goes into your sodium chloride. And the one on the far left is going to go into your sodium chloride. The one in the middle, which is your sodium chloride there, and the one here is your acid. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this tubing here, stick it, screw it into the middle here. This will be your sodium chloride tubing. And then you're going to take this one right here. These are your feed tubings into the center cell. You're going to put that in here, and you're going to connect it. I hope that helps explain how this system is connected and installed. Won't go into a whole lot of information because we could spend a lot of information here. It's not my intention to do that. I want to give you a basic understanding. If you have any questions, please call Paul Edwards at Danmark Company. You can visit our website, danmarkcompany.com, or it said DAN, excuse me. You can visit our website at danmarco.net, or you can call me up 817-822-5767, 817-822-5767, or toll free at 888-822-5767. Please contact us if you have any questions. Thank you for your time and effort in learning all about the Olas system.